She called the cops because I said no. But what happened next destroyed her power forever. You won't believe this. It was a completely normal summer afternoon. The community pool was packed, kids laughing, families relaxing, everything calm and peaceful. And then the HOA Karen arrived, clipboard in hand, attitude on her face, a voice dripping with pure entitlement. She acted like the pool was her personal property. I calmly said, "Sorry, ma'am, according to the rules, you can't use the pool." That was it. Her temper exploded. She started screaming, making threats, and then, right in front of everyone, she pulled out her phone. "Yes, I'm calling the police." The entire pool went silent. People stopped moving. Phones came out. Recordings started. Karen stood there with a smug smile, like she had already won. But she had no idea what was about to happen next. Our community has a shared swimming pool, and the rules are crystal clear. Only residents are allowed, an ID is required for entry, and HOA fees must be fully up to date. I am a volunteer on the pool committee. My role is pretty simple: enforce the rules and make sure everything stays fair for everyone. Now, this particular Karen was actually an HOA board member herself, and because of that, she truly believed the rules didn't apply to her. Here's the twist, though. Her HOA fees hadn't been paid in over 6 months, which meant she was technically in violation. One sunny afternoon, she showed up with her entire guest army, a big group of friends and family she was clearly trying to sneak in. No IDs, no guest passes, and absolutely no regard for the pool policy. She marched in like she owned the place, clipboard in hand, attitude fully loaded, acting like the pool was her personal kingdom. As the volunteer on duty, I stayed calm and professional. I politely but firmly explained the situation. "Sorry, ma'am," I said, "but since your HOA fees are overdue, you're not currently in good standing. The rules apply to everyone, including board members. Unfortunately, you and your guests won't be able to use the pool today." That was all it took. Her face turned bright red. She completely lost it, yelling, threatening lawsuits, and then suddenly pulling out her phone. "Yes, I'm calling the police," she screamed, as if that would magically fix everything. The entire pool went silent. Kids stopped splashing, parents froze, phones came out to record, and there she stood, wearing that smug, entitled smirk, absolutely convinced she'd already won. But what she didn't realize was that she had no idea what was about to happen next. I stayed calm, and that's exactly why she lost. "Sorry, ma'am, but until your fees are cleared, pool access isn't allowed." Her face turned bright red. She exploded. "Do you know who I am?" The classic Karen line. Everyone around the pool froze. I kept my voice steady and polite. "Rules are the same for everyone, ma'am." That set her off even more. She slammed her clipboard down on the table with a loud smack and shouted, "You're abusing your power." By now, people were staring. Phones were out, recording every second. Kids stopped splashing. The whole place went quiet, except for her voice echoing off the water. She was pacing now, pointing at me like I was the criminal. "I'm on the HOA board. I make the rules." I just stood there, arms crossed, not raising my voice. "Actually, ma'am, the rules are in the bylaws, and they apply to board members too. Your fees have been overdue for 6 months. That's the policy." Her eyes narrowed. She leaned in close, voice dripping with venom. "You're going to regret this." I didn't flinch. "I'm just doing my job, ma'am. Have a nice day." She huffed, turned on her heel, and stormed toward the gate, still muttering threats under her breath. The crowd slowly started whispering again, some chuckling quietly. A few even gave me a thumbs up. The pool was peaceful once more, but the drama was far from over. "There's a man harassing me at the pool, and And right here has been harassing me and my kids all afternoon. He won't leave us alone. Resident here. Everything up to date. Here's the HOA rules and the pool access policy. She's the one who hasn't paid her dues in months, so she's not supposed to be in the pool area at all. He's threatening me and my family. Relevant. If you're not current on your dues, you don't have access to the community pool. That's in the HOA bylaws. Started it. He's harassing me. Ma'am, harassment. You're trespassing in a restricted area. We're going to need you to leave the premises immediately. This is ridiculous. One claiming harassment, but this is a civil matter between you and the HOA. Filing a false report is but don't let this happen again. But he was harassing me. This is unfair. Ma'am, we've reviewed the documents. You're not current on your dues. You don't have access to this pool. That makes your presence here trespassing. Ma'am, you are trespassing on private property. You need to leave the pool area immediately. That goes for your guests as well. The water ripples gently as the pool returns to peace. Attention doesn't equal entitlement. Rules aren't just for other people. They apply to everyone, especially those in power. I walked into my car, ready to leave, just as I should have. The building had been shut down. I had left. It was my place to be there. When a Karen thinks the police are her personal weapon to bully neighbors, sometimes the cops themselves end up showing her the reality check she desperately needs. In this case, the community finally stood up, called out the abuse, and voted her out. Board removal, fines, and a forced apology letter. Boundaries were set, and justice was served. Have you ever seen HOA power abuse in action? Drop your story in the comments below. Want more wild HOA tales and epic Karen takedowns? Like, subscribe, and share this video. Trust me, this is just the beginning. Simpty fire. All right, let's bring this entire HOA saga to a close with the hard-hitting lesson that ties it all together. The moral is straightforward and brutally honest. Authority is not the same as entitlement. Holding a position on the board doesn't mean you get to act like a tyrant, bend the rules to suit your whims, or treat the neighborhood like your private empire. Rules aren't optional for the important people. They're mandatory for everyone, especially those entrusted with power. When someone forgets that, the backlash can be swift and satisfying. In this story, the Karen in question crossed every line. She abused her position to target residents unfairly, misused police resources to intimidate and harass over trivial matters, and conveniently ignored her own unpaid fees while aggressively enforcing fines on others. She treated the cops like her personal security detail and the HOA as her personal fiefdom. But the community wasn't having it anymore. The next day, the HOA meeting turned into a reckoning. Residents stood up, laid out the evidence of power abuse, police misuse, and her blatant hypocrisy. Questions flew, facts were presented, and the room filled with outrage. Then came the vote. The results? Decisive. She was immediately removed from the board, hit with fines for her violations, and ordered to write a mandatory apology letter to every resident. The message was clear. No one is above the rules. The community finally drew firm boundaries, reclaiming control and reminding everyone that HOAs exist to serve the neighborhood, not to enable bullies. This is the perfect case study in how things can turn around when people refuse to stay silent. HOAs can be a nightmare if unchecked power creeps in, but they're also tools for justice when residents unite, follow the bylaws, document everything, and vote accordingly. Selective enforcement, harassment, weaponizing authority, these things thrive in the dark. Shine a light, gather support, and hold leaders accountable. That's how you transform a toxic board into one that actually works for the community.
Have you ever dealt with or witnessed an HOA power abuse story like this? Share it in the comments. I read every one and love hearing these real-life victories over petty tyrants. If you're hooked on these wild HOA tales, epic Karen meltdowns, petty revenge, and satisfying comebacks, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications. Share this with anyone who's ever suffered under a nightmare board. They'll thank you for the validation and the laughs. Trust me, this is only the beginning. There's a whole library of insane HOA drama waiting to be unleashed. Stay tuned, keep it petty, and remember, the real power lies with the people, not the position. Smurfin' Fire.